In 1954, a group of parents with children with cerebral palsy and Down syndrome had a look at what life was going to be like for their kids, which was going to be institutions, it was going to be specialized settings. And they actually said to government, hold it. We want something different for our kids. We want something different for our families. And that was one of the first groups in Canada to do that work. And so Kinside was born. We had a different name and some of the terrible names that we had for people with developmental disabilities in those days. But that was the beginning, and that was the first innovation that Kinside was involved in. And so with that, we had a preschool, a physical therapist, a physiotherapist, and slowly over time built services and supports, not only to serve young children and their families, but also adults with developmental disabilities. And Kinside has never really stopped innovating. It's waxed and waned over the years, like all organizations, and we've got periods where we've been quite active and periods where we've been a bit stale. And about 25 years ago, I guess, this family-centered practice began to roll out across the jurisdiction of BC, and everybody got quite involved. We too became practitioners using family-centered practice principles. And I think one of the things that we have discovered over that time is that we've become very good at developing strong relationships with our families. We do family surveys, satisfaction surveys on an annual basis. We do all kinds of anecdotal evaluations with parents, and that's the number one thing that they tell us, that the relationship that they have, with their practitioners or their staff or their consultants is very strong. So we're excited about that. And I'd just like to shout out to Dr. Lori Ortman, who was with us a couple of years ago to do some of the work on developmental parenting. And I think that helped to sort of cement that idea, and it was kind of a really good way for us to synthesize and be able to look at how strong we are in developing relationships. But like with any strength, we kind of overused it. And we didn't think about some of the other things in family-centered practice that were important. And we think that maybe that strength crowded out the opportunity and the ability to actually really engage families in true partnership and collaboration around actually creating supports and services and goals and objectives and actually dreams and hopes for their children. So the whole notion of parents becoming full participants in that process kind of got lost because we thought we were so good at developing the relationship. So we tried a few things. We tried a lot of things. Most of it didn't stick. Most of it was pretty tough. And part of it was actually just the way we were doing things. We were, like I'm up here delivering this message to you, we relied on professional development in terms of training and workshops, etc., and this sort of one-way speaking. And we turned around and looked at that and thought, well, no wonder our staff are not changing in the way that they involve parents, because we're actually not doing anything differently in the way that we actually engage staff in the change that we want to have happen. So we began to talk about parallel process. So if we want families to think of, or if we want, staff and professionals to think of families as true partners in the change, then we actually also need to do the same thing with our staff. So, yeah, that was kind of our insight, and it took us a little while to get to it. Oh, great. And so many years ago, we actually had Carl Dunst, who is a guru grandfather, so to speak, in family-centered practice, come to our organization. And look, in order to help us, implementing this, and he was quite insistent about the importance of those participatory processes. And despite that, we really had no way of knowing whether staff were actually engaging with families in that way. And it came to a head a little while ago when I actually had a sit-down talk with one of the consultants in our infant development program. So that is a program that works with at-risk and young children with a developmental disability or delay to the age of birth to 3. And I was talking about this notion of participation and how are families truly involved in the planning of services and the work that you do. And she said, well, they just are. And I said, okay. So if I was to go in a family, pick somebody from your caseload, and I was to ask the parent, so what goal are you working on right now with this particular person? What do you think they'd say? This is what I got. There was silence, right? So that was kind of the realization that, you know, we assumed it was happening in a conversation in our planning process, but it probably wasn't. And one of the other things that just as a side note, when we are actually interviewing for new staff, one of the questions we ask is around how do you build parents' confidence and competence? Because that is one of the hallmarks of family-centered practice. And nobody ever gets it right. And I was saying to Annick the other day, I'm going to stop asking the question because it's a complete waste of time for everybody. Because we need to start actually building it into our training with staff. People are not coming to us with that understanding. So, we're going to talk a little bit more about the tool, and Annick is going to discuss that. But we had the good fortune and the pleasure last April, yes, of our CEO, Christine Scott from Kinsight, attending an innovation conference in New Zealand, where she met both Dr. Annick Janson and Sylvana Annick from Plumtree, where Plumtree was, I think she's going to facilitate the session. And we came across the work that they've been doing, and particularly not only in now&next, which you've heard a lot of already in this conference, but also in the tool called Pictability. And there was something for the first time we thought, aha, this might be something that we can engage and use for families and have them involved, and we may not have to worry too much about how much a staff member knows about those participatory practices, because they're built in and they're embedded within the tool. That was our hunch. Now I'm going to hand it over to Annick, who's going to tell you the data and what it showed.
So right, my role is to talk about the data and the research, and usually people sort of find it more dry. But in your packs, you have our theory of change, and you can follow through, and there's a QR code that will lead you to the website that explains all this. So I won't go into it now, just to know that it is in the section where we talk about engaging professionals. That's what we talk about now. And one of the things that I remember as a mother, I have a 27-year-old on the spectrum, and I just did not like all these first sessions where I had to tell all my story over and over again, and again, and again, and the birth. And I thought, surely there's a better way. Yes, I understand, I'm a clinical psychologist and a researcher, so I understand that we need the data. How can we get the same data in a way that will engage the family and start building the agency right there, not have the family dread another. So, long story short, we constructed this tool which led us to that innovation prize in 2017. And I'm going to show you a 1-minute clip. And I'm very proud to say that some of the directors of this movie are in the audience now. They are peer workers. And it is their voice that's coming through this movie to explain what they like about it.
Life. Sometimes it doesn't go to plan, especially when you're the parent or carer of a child with a delay or disability. You seem to always be on the go, but left wondering if you're actually getting anywhere. What if we told you you don't have to feel like this? Pictability allows you to catch your breath. Have a play, follow the steps, take your time. By the end, you'll be reconnected with what's important to you, your child, and your family without even realizing it. That's just how Pictability works. Pictability helps you turn what's important into what's achievable. What's achievable then turns into a map for a great life, your family's life. And before you know it, you're on your way.
So if you want to hear more about this tool, it's downstairs in the expo. And so, okay, we had a tool that engaged families. The families, over 600 families have done this, used this process. And they told us, we have data to say that they like the process. And that leads to another implementation process in which they become very participatory. So now the question is, what happens to these families if they go back and talk to a professional who is still in the sort of last century model? And we understood that this has to happen hand in hand with professional development. And as Gareth was saying, we thought the best way to show, for people to feel, professionals to feel what families experience when they plan is for them to experience it themselves. So we went to Canada, and we had a room full of 30 professionals, and so for instance, the photos that I chose here is what we mean by participatory. So you cannot actually stand back and let it happen. You have to glue, put the images together, write your goals. You've got the pen in your hand. I mean, have you ever asked your staff, when you do planning, who's holding the pen? Because if it's not the parent, then that's what happens. They don't know what goes really out of, somebody else goes away and writes a really nice report about goals, but the parents maybe, and in fact, and with them is growing data on that, it's very worrying. So we use a lot of technology, we use e-books, and this is some of the images of the training together. So very interactive, and then we have the ability also to show people were interviewed and were asked,
When you're breaking down predictability, it's really breaking down your goals into baby steps. So we have a picture of a family taking these baby steps and reaching for the stars. But we also label the star as hope, because we see the perspective too, from a parent with a child with a disability, that for them it's not just any goal. Sometimes a goal, it's not just something like a concrete task, but just changing something that causes you grief into something that's bearable, or how do I put it? Hopeful, right? So these goals sometimes are really more about hope and having a more hopeful outlook. So that's why we label the star as hope.
So the research tools, we do a before-after research paradigm, and we look at the engagement scales for partners in change outcome. These have been used. I really highly recommend. They're very simple scales. If you want, I'll give you more information after the conference, and they're very, very reliable and valued. And the second tool that we use is psychological empowerment, because so that was developed at the Beach Institute in Kansas, and it goes across 4 domains: attitude, skills and knowledge, formal participation, and informal participation. And of course, we also had some survey questions which led some interesting comments. But in the participation bit, so then we were thinking, delving much deeper into what is formal participation, what is informal participation, and how do we measure that. So the first thing is we wanted to know, are practitioners engaging with the training? And so this engagement, there's 4 domains. Do they engage individually? Do they see a connection with an interpersonal relationship that they have, or a community of practice that they have, social? And the before and after, I'm just going to read here so to make sure that I don't misquote myself. So a repeated measure ANOVA showed that participants' average engagement level after training was significantly higher than before training. This is a sample of 30 people, and this is a training that lasted for 2 days. So to have statistically significant results is kind of, I mean, I had these results checked by someone else because I wasn't. It was a bit. Yes. So that was first part. Are they engaged? Second part, can they use this tool to build their participatory practice with the parents? So once again, we have this interesting result. Again, we have statistics significance. And here we have our 4 domains. And what the statistics showed. So we did so you do a repeated measure and analysis of variance because you have a before after. And then what this showed in a post, when you have an interaction, you need to do a post analysis, and that showed that the gain, so in the green line is the informal participation, and that's the bit that's got the practitioner leading the parent to take to take action to build their agency, and that part, that analysis showed that this was and that you can see it, but we now also have the data that this is the part that increased the most out of all the, so it was really good because it was a validation that there was something happening of the sort. So the comments, I have more goals than I realized I can actually start by myself. The goals are more meaningful, more personal, and actually it's exactly the same thing as the parents say. So some trade secrets, I don't mind divulging some of them here. Clinical psychologist, so I was trained in psychological testing also. And the principles that are embedded in this tool are very much inspired by the projective identification testing. And so when people see these images, so these images were evidence-based from 6 years of research that was done at Plumtree with about what do parents use the individualized funding to purchase either services or things to achieve their goals. So already we have evidence-based material embedded in the test, but also what we see here is that people really connect strongly to images, and it's fascinating. If you want, we can talk about it afterwards, but the thing is that people connect to different images in a different way, and I don't need to know what it means inside if they just connect really strongly to those goals, and they write their goals. And so there's a whole psychological process that happens between a parent and their goals that the facilitator of the tool does not need to even get involved, because it gets just get imprinted in the parent mind, and that's why if your staff calls the parent, they will know immediately what goal they're working on because it's very much the goal that they chose. And I've been told by many parents that in a conversation, in a planning conversation, often they don't know how to formulate goals, or they ask the practitioners, what goal should I choose, or all sorts of. So somebody said, I asked my therapist what goals I should choose for that type of goal. So the core components of this mechanism is, firstly, we create a strong vision, because what you saw on the board there is the parent creating their long-term vision, which is something that is lacking in our current processes. We usually ask the question, what are your goals for your child? And so that's very immediate, that's not inspirational. So and we, as a parent, I can say, we're in it for the long run, so we need inspiration to keep going. We talk about sustainability. We need that inspiration, but it's often not there in the conversation. It's hard. The grouping of the goals during this process mitigates a bit of the overwhelm that we've talked about in previous sessions. We cluster the goals, and that helps the parents start building an effective partnership with professionals, because our goal, we talk about parent empowerment, but actually it is, you will know what goals you want to work on, and then you will know when to ask a professional when you need help. So that's really, it's not a best of them situation. On the contrary, it's now you're going to use your professional a lot better. You're going to make, if you have funding from NDIS, you're going to make better use of your funding. And you start by prioritizing what goals you want to work on, so that we start building agency right away. So Gareth, are we
coming in?
that is the time. Yes.
Right. Okay.
We want to actually open the discussion
Sure.
and talk to and ask, for you to discuss with us what will happen when true family participation enters our processes? When the families become, equal partners in a relationship.
That's you guys, this is your chance. Questions, thoughts? I can tell you a couple hunches. I have no idea whether they're true, but we'll see over time whether that's the case. So when we think about, for families, our hunch is that hopefully families will sort of say, see you later, right? We'll get back in touch with you when we actually require you to do some work. And they'll be in and out more often, and we'll have a different kind of relationship with families. For professionals, we think perhaps they're going to unlearn some of the typical and traditional ways that they've been doing things, and perhaps think of their role a little bit differently, right? So thinking rather than being a consultant or a therapist, perhaps it'll be more a facilitator, a coach, etc. So it helps with some of that coaching. So we think there'll be some new roles that come out of this. And to the partnership, well, we're really hoping that there's, as Annick mentioned, that there's an equal partnership, and from an equal partnership comes an equal sharing of the responsibility. Because I think sometimes I do know, in speaking with staff that work with families, they feel a tremendous responsibility when things are not moving forward. And so, and that they have somehow failed. And I'm sure that is very much how families feel in the same regard. So I'm hoping that together, this shared partnership, this true partnership, they'll actually be able to have that conversation and discuss, and not laying blame with each other, but kind of pick up, maybe do another pickability, get another set, and move forward. So that's our hunch. I'm hoping that's the case. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.